What's up guys, my name is Emanuel. I'm originally from Venezuela and I'm so happy to be able today to make this video for you. I've been trying to record this whole experience for 2 days in a row now. You know, I was always missing something and I did not want to leave anything behind. I wanted to be, really rich in content and details, and at the same time not to sound really boring and flat. I want to make this really juicy and practical for medical and non-medical people, because most of my friends are not actually doctors and they were really interested to know what was I doing during this entire time. So I decided to create this video. So question number 1, explain the USMLE. Here in the States, you have to take several tests during your med school. Once you complete all your testing, you are able to apply for residency. You take a step 1, which is a test about memorizing random facts. It's really heavy on genetics and lab procedures, and you have a little bit of statistics, and then you have a little bit of clinical related questions. For example, my own experience, when I get to the test day, I feel totally lost. And now I have all these questions that I just have no idea how to tackle. That was basically how it feels when you take this type of exams. And it felt like that all the time. So then you have step 2CK. It's really specific. What is the most likely diagnosis? What is the best step in this context? All right, so it's in that giant paragraph. Now, step 2CS, it used to be a test. I took it in 2019, and they canceled that after COVID. And now they're using OET. I personally didn't take it, so I would not have firsthand information about it, but I understand it's a lot about English proficiency. All right, so after taking all your tests, you're going to be able to apply for residency. The match is basically Tinder for hospitals and residents. It's so scary. Each candidate is going to apply to as many programs as they want, and then they are going to receive invitations from those hospitals for interview. If you're lucky to have several, you increase your chances of matching, of going to residency. If you get just a few interviews, your chances for matching are going to decrease. Interview season goes from September to February, so it happens just once a year. And then you will know in March where you're going to. Which hospital, which programming. Okay, so how much are the steps? How much is it to go through the entire process? So you have to pay $150 to apply. You have to pay $975 for step 1, $975 for step 2CK, and every time you want to change the test day, you have to pay extra as well. The OET, which is the other test that they are now using instead of steps 2CS. So they are going to charge you extra fees for doing that. Alrighty, when it comes to resources and what to use, usually here you're going to be looking at QBanks. Everything is pretty much digital. The first aid is basically our Bible. Right here, we're looking at UWorld prices. So depending on how long you want to be using their system, it's going to increase. Amboss, QBank. When I used Amboss, you would just pay it like UWorld and you would still have access to their library, which I loved. I loved Amboss way more than UWorld. Those are not the only 2 resources for step 1, step 2CK, or whatever you want to study. There are multiple, right? When I was studying for step 1 and step 2, I tried to use as much as possible. I made sure I use every single QBank, every single assessment. At the end of the day, everything comes down to time management. So it's up to you and your current situation. If you're an IMG, like me, international medical graduate, you're going to have just a bunch to pick on, and depending on whether you're in college at the moment or you're here working, doing observerships or whatever, or working in your home country, you have several resources to pick on. Now the match costs. Once you finish all your tests, you're going to apply for hospitals and going through the interview process. So this is the calculator that they use for the application process for hospitals. Every program after 30 programs is going to cost you 26. So the more programs you apply to, obviously the more money you're paying for. Before COVID, the interview process is usually in person. So you would need to travel to every single city in every part of America, whatever you apply to. And you would have to stay there for who knows how long. So you have to take in consideration the possibilities for... But because of COVID and everything being virtual, everybody applied to so many programs. Usually the American graduate would apply to 70 or below, and the international medical graduate usually goes above 100. But during this time of COVID, most of the American students apply over 100, and the IMGs, oh man, I've heard of people applying to 300 programs, 200 programs. It depends on your finances. And my personal advice, now that I've been through this process, be smart. Applying to many programs, all programs in the United States, is not going to help you, okay? You have to be smart about where you are applying to, because if you need a visa and your scores are not according to what the hospital requires the resident to have, then you're wasting your money. They're just gonna see your folder and then toss it out. Or maybe they have, a robot or something in the computer that's just going to delete the application because it does not comply with the requirements. So be really smart about where you're applying and where you're putting your money to. I applied to hospitals that I knew I had a high chance on getting to be there. I do not require a visa because of my current legal status. I had a working permit. I had scores that they wanted. There were international medical graduates in the program. So I took all that into consideration to know which programs I should be applying to and which programs I should not be applying to. Even after applying all these filters, I still needed to apply to above 100 programs. So it cost me maybe $3,000 to apply to the 119 programs. I had many questions about the legal status. I'm no lawyer, so it would be very irresponsible for me to give any type of legal advice. So I would recommend you to, seek for advice from actual lawyers. I would just state what's known. In order to apply to residency, you either have to have the possibility of obtaining a visa or having a visa already. So you can be here as a student for anything else, and then you just would change your legal status inside of the country. In my personal case, I was able to apply for a working permit early in the game in 2018, and I was able to start working as a medical assistant. Time management. That was a hard one. I was working full-time as a medical assistant at that point, and my commute would be, between 2 hours or 2 hours and 30 minutes a day. So in order to maximize study time, I was listening to podcasts or classes while I was driving, or I was calling my best friend and ask her, what were your questions yesterday? What did you learn yesterday? I wanted to have somebody giving me information in lay terms, so I would be able to understand, save it, and you apply it later. Between patients in the clinic, I would read the first day. I would have bullet points, so I could be repeating them while I was doing other stuff. I was really blessed with having two excellent bosses. They would let me stay after hours in the clinic, and I was able to use their computer, their electricity, their water. I would close at 5 p.m. I would start working out 30 minutes at least, and then I would start to study and then go straight to 10 or 12 whenever I felt okay, this is enough, I can't go any farther. And then I would head home. I would have just 1 day a week that I would just use for myself, grocery shopping, maybe having a date with my boyfriend at the time, now husband. His name is Trent. I would, use Sundays for everything. Saturday night, sometimes I would, go out. Sometimes I would just stay because I was too exhausted. For all of y'all that are working full-time, you're a mom or a dad or whatever, it's hard, it's challenging, but it's not impossible. One of the things that motivated me was listening to people that were going through the same, they were working full-time and they made it, they were parents and they made it. So those were things that I would resonate with. You knew that somebody else made it and they were in a similar position, so you feel like, okay, I can make it. Oh man, most challenging moments. There's so much to talk about in this subject, and I was working so hard to make this video short. I'm going to get really honest. I think number one is the emotional support. I believe that it is impossible for somebody who's not going through this process to understand roller coaster that it is to go through the USMLE journey. It is hard, it is tough, it never ends. We usually believe that those that are really close to us would be our source of support, but in my case, keep hearing my family just constantly say things like, why is it taking you so long? Is it worth it? Are you even going to make it? Why? And those are things that you do not want to hear when you're going through such a hard time. You're an immigrant. You are paying for your own stuff. You're trying to figure it out, how to do it, how to make it. You're studying, you're working full time. Oh my God, that's not going to be helpful. The emotional burden of missing out, of not talking to people, you start to believe those words. You start to believe, should I actually change my goals? Should I actually change my dreams? You don't have that much free time to study and work and just stay sane and have a relationship or whatever. Not achieving the scores that I wanted. When you're an IMG, you're always told your scores need to be perfect, right? In order to have any chance. Because when you do not achieve those scores, you kind of feel like you have no chance, that you're just going to fail, nobody's going to call you, and all those things are a lie. Multiple variables are going to make things happen for you. One is going to be, who do you know, your clinical experience here, your legal status, the scores, experience in research. There are so many variables. I would just say try to have as many variables in your favor to help you match. Unfortunately, I do not have the connections. I do not have the friend inside of the residency. I just had my experience here, my scores, and then, something else that was really challenging was money. Money was key in my journey, I swear. When I met Trent, we started to date and all this, and eventually we moved in together, and we started to, split costs and expenses. And I was telling him, hey, I'm struggling. This is my plan. And I talked to him about tests, course. I want to try to save as much as possible. We were able to rearrange, how much one would pay for rent and the other would pay for utilities. So, we were a couple, so it was easy to find a middle ground. And he was so supportive of my dreams, and I could easily say that without him, it would not be possible. Things add up. This speaks volume about, your ability to adapt, your ability to be resilient. And I think that as an immigrant, those are things that you slowly catch up with. You slowly get stronger and stronger against the obstacles, right? This is something really personal. So my relationship with Trent was so hard to maintain. I was leaving around 7 a.m. to go to work. We would have a little chat in the morning, and then it was just FaceTime or messages during the day. And then I would get back home, it was 1 a.m. or 12 a.m. and he would be sleeping. I remember one day in 2019, he was like, man, I feel lonely. Like, I don't see you. We live together, but it's like, how are we gonna do this? And I was like, oh my God, gonna do? Like, I had no time. I had no time. Like, I could not stretch more. I was doing everything I could. It's like, okay, so give me some time so I can buy a computer and I can start to study at home. You could hear everything from one room to the other. And so my fear was not being able to concentrate, not being able to have complete silence during my assessments. Those were scary thoughts, and there's nothing else you can do. You are either going to lose the man of your life, somebody who has been so supportive from the get-go, because of this test. If I do not invest in this relationship right now, it's going to break and he's going to go. So I try to, stretch my time as much as possible, to see him as much as possible. And he understood. He was really patient with me. Okay, most memorable moments. This question made me so happy because it helped me to sit down and try to remember those moments that were iconic, that made me laugh, that brings a smile to my face. And I would easily say that I think this was January 2019, I was taking assessments for the step 1 exam. I hear from the living room Trent's voice saying, "Help, help," and I was like, oh my god, what's going on? And then I go to the living room and I see our little boy at that time. He was 2 years old, I think. Yeah, 2 years old, and he was on diapers, and he decided to take off his diapers and to just, play with the poop. And so there was poop on the rock, there was poop on the ground, there was poop on Trent. Trent was holding his leg and the diaper, and he was just like, oh my god. It was so funny. Oh my god, this is going to make me cry. I was taking this assessment, right? I was really frustrated because I was not getting better, getting closer to the 250, I was stuck. I had a breakdown. Oh my god, I've been working on this for 1.5 years. I see no progress. I have tried everything. I've tried every resource to do this, and I'm not able to succeed. And then you start to hear all those voices again in your head from everybody that once told you,
you're not gonna make it, you're not smart enough, you do not have the money, work and studying is super hard.
And I just lost it. I lost it, and I started to cry so hard. He opens the door and he sits next to me and he hugs me and he stays there in silence. Wow, I mean, like, to remember that, it was so... I married him because I said, this is my soulmate, or an angel, or whatever. Because at that point, I was like, thank you, God, for giving me this angel. Because you don't give that much love and support to somebody who is a stranger to your culture, who is a stranger to your language, who is a stranger to your life. He was so supportive from the get-go, and it was just what I needed. He says, I believe in you, and you're gonna make it. Oh my god, you have no idea how much I needed somebody so close to me to say it. I needed somebody to say it because I was not believing myself anymore. I was believing the words from the haters, and I guess I'm a failure, and I'm not gonna make it. I do not have the score. I'm not gonna make it. And he said it with so much confidence. He did not need to sit down next to me and, you know, say a bunch of shit. He just needed to say 2 words to make me rock and roll. I took the test. Obviously, I did not get the score. Obviously, the assessments were right. I was not gonna get the 250, but I did not fail. Wow, the relief that I felt was insane. I felt like, oh my God, I can take weight off my shoulders and finally say I made it. Made everything so worth it. What would you change about your journey? This question took me so long. I believe every single thing that happened helped me to become the resilient man that I am, the braver person. Helped me to, you know, block the haters away, and it helped me to set up boundaries with people. It made me stronger overall, and I believe that I would not change anything. Right now, I feel really inspired by Brené Brown and her work on vulnerability. There's this phrase that she constantly brings up from Teddy Roosevelt that it changed my life, and it goes like this.
It's not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done it better. The credit belongs to the person who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred with blood and sweat and dust, who, at the best, in the end, knows the triumph of high achievement, and who, at worst, if he fails daring greatly. I want to show up and be seen in my work and in my life. And if you're going to show up and be seen, there is only one guarantee, and that is you will get your ass kicked. That is the guarantee. That's the only certainty you have. If you're gonna go in the arena and spend any time in there whatsoever, especially if you've committed to creating in your life, you will get your ass kicked. So you have to decide at that moment, I think for all of us, if courage is a value that we hold, this is a consequence. You can't avoid it. But if you're in the cheap seats, not putting yourself on the line and just talking about how I could do it better, I'm in no way interested in your feedback.
Okay, so what are we doing, Emanuel? See where we're heading for residency! You ready? I'm ready. Okay.
Yay!
We're going to...
Whee!
We're going to Chicago! Yay!
That's too loud, meow.
We're going to Chicago!
Alrighty guys, so this is the end of our video. Right here with me, we have Daddy Trent, we have Princess Winter right here, and we have our firefighter, Piercy Bowles. They're looking at the iPad because I use the iPad as a second screen. So guys, the camera is right here. I match in internal medicine, yeah! This is Piercy's.
Piercy's gonna be a
Piercy's going to be a firefighter. Alrighty, Trent, you wanna say something?
A lot of people have been asking, oh, does that mean he's moving to Chicago? Oh, are you moving to Chicago, Trent? Or they'll ask Emanuel if, you know, if I'm going with them, or like what's happening with our relationship. And, you know, we're still gonna be together, still gonna make it work, and nothing's really changed. And he'll be down, I'll go up there. It'll be kind of like a little adventure, and he'll just have his home here to come home to when he wants and when he's able to.
Yay! I love this man. I love my baby. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching this video.
Smash like the subscribe button, and guys, hit on to Instagram and spell me and your name. And you guys will see you in the next video. Peace out.
Alright.
Remember, everyone, always remember to watch my birthday video from last time. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to watch our videos. And don't forget to watch these. And
Alrighty, thank you so much for watching.
And we will type my name on the internet.
Alrighty, press the red button. Cheers.